not know this about me, but I consider myself a pretty good film buff.
Nobody cares. Nobody!
I love strange indie films. I love films that are considered avant-garde and just unusual, make you think. I love films like that. But Poor Things is kind of disgusting. If you don't know what Poor Things is, it is a newly released film that got, you know, mixed reviews, as it should, about a mad scientist, stick with me here, about a mad scientist that finds this woman who have offed herself because she's trying to escape an abusive marriage, and he brings her back to life, you know, Frankenstein style, and he cuts out the baby, the fetus, and he puts the baby's brain in the mother's body, right? And then he zaps her and brings the human back to life. And then it's kind of like this baby, this toddler, trying to basically experiencing life for the first time, learning how to walk, learning what food is, what words are, with how to be a human being. It's about this child discovering life for the first time, which is perfectly fine. I like that idea of that. However, the parts that's giving people the ick is the fact that a good half of the film is pretty hypersexual. Hyper fucking sexual with a toddler, with a baby, with a child. Now, they get away with it because the baby's brain is in an adult body, but this is a baby. This is a child, a toddler. Okay, so stick with me here. The child is discovering life, but they're also discovering their bodies. And this is not unusual for toddlers and young kids to do. A lot of people don't like to think about it, but toddlers do explore themselves. They don't understand what it is. They're not connecting to sex. They're not connecting to sexuality. They just know what feels good. So it's not that young kids are ready to do adult things because they don't have any conception of it, and they're too young to understand. They just understand, hey, when I touch here, it feels good, right? Now, in saying that, there is a level of healthy and unhealthy exploration. So if you have a young small child and they are exploring themselves to the point where it's unhealthy, you might want to investigate, because it also can be a symptom that they are being abused. Just FYI. And so the toddler, adult, body mom person starts to explore herself and then starts to engage in sexual activity with grown adults. Grown men are having sexual relations with a toddler, with a child. But again, they get away with it because it's in a grown woman's body, but is a child. Now, the men that this toddler explores herself with aren't aware that this is a child. So they're not necessarily pedos. They don't know that this is a baby. They think it's a grown woman. Except the man who agrees to accept her hand in marriage in the film. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Spoilers. You should have known that before you clicked on this film. It's been out, all right? Spoilers. He knows that it's a toddler. He discovers it by snooping into the scientist's documents and laboratory. He knows this is a child, and he still agrees to marry this child, and he is a grown man. So there you go. But all the other men this child decides to explore life with don't know that she's a child. At some point in the film as well, this child decides to get into X work. So now there's a baby, a child getting into child prostitution. But again, they get away with it because it's an adult body. So, not so bad, right? It's fucking weird. Now, the weirdest part to me is that this poor mother that was escaping an abusive relationship, offing herself to the point the abuse was so bad, she didn't want her own child to be born into this abusive relationship, into this world. That mother, they take her baby and put it in her body, and now her baby is being exploited in the mother's meat sack. Do I think this is a dog whistle or a nod to pedos? I don't know, because they do put it in a grown woman's body. So I don't know how a pedo would get off on this, but it does feel a little bit wink wink nod nod. Now look, I come from the world of creatives. I was in theater, I was in the industry. Again, I love weird, twisted films. I understand that a lot of people who really see themselves as deep and philosophical will see this as something amazing and beautiful and so artistic, and just normies just don't understand. I've already seen deep dives or essay videos in this film how this is really about female empowerment and a woman coming into her own, except it's not a woman, it's a child. And I don't understand why female empowerment always have to involve the exploitation of one's body and wants sex. I understand that sometimes it can be, but for some reason it seems like it always has to be. It's not a woman. It's not a woman coming into her own. It's a child. Now, they don't actually show how much time has passed in this movie, but it seems like it's not that much time. And you do have to like suspend belief a little bit, because it does go from like taller to like older teenager, 21-year-old uni kid who just took like some liberal arts course. But it doesn't seem like it's that much time has passed, because no one's aging. She's not aging. The men around her aren't aging. So this is not a woman. This is still a child who is just thrust into an adult world and has to adult sooner than a normal kid. So it's not a story about a woman coming into her own. It's not a story about female empowerment. It's a story about a child who has to become an adult fairly quickly, but in the meantime gets passed around quite a bit. Besides the ick factor of this film, it is beautifully made. The set design, the costume, the coloring, the cinematography, the acting, the sound, everything is fantastical, whimsical, a little bit dark. It's beautifully done. I will give you that. And if it was a brain, if it wasn't a brain of a baby being passed around one man to another like a hot potato, I would think this film was absolutely fantastic and beautiful. But because for some reason Hollywood was like, wouldn't it be interesting if we had a baby, a toddler, in her mother's body, just become extremely hypersexual and force that into the public's eye? Okay, it's not forced, but still, it's out there. I think this is one of those films that will be praised in the artistic realm for a while, and then years later will be studied as, why was this okay kind of thing. I think it's one of those type of films. But yeah, I think it's weird, I think it's odd, I think it's strange, it makes me side-eye all the people that was involved. Emma Watson, I think Emma Watson is the actor. She was heavily involved in the development and the making of this film, so I'm side-eyeing her too. Again, I lived so much in the artistic industry, acting, creative world. I know how their brain works, and a lot of times the line, but the boundaries, the line that most society has when it comes to the idea of children and then adult things, they kind of blur it a lot, because they think that it makes them creative and artists, and they kind of, that's their sort of out to do those things, is that I'm an artist, I'm a creative, I'm supposed to expand and all, whatever, right? And then if the lines are blurred, it's kind of, and if you feel icky about it, it's like because you're a normie and you don't understand, because you're not a creative or you're an artist. That's their out, that's their excuse to be kind of weird sometimes when it comes to, again, the appropriateness when it comes to adult and child things, right? So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who watch this film, who are involved in that world, think this is amazing and beautiful. I think it's amazing and beautiful in some ways, and it's really weird and gross in others, and again, it makes me side-eyed Hollywood, it makes me side-eyed everyone involved. It's weird, it's twisted. It's the same thing as like there was an adult who had some sort of brain deficiency or some development deficiency, and they have a brain of a 3-year-old but an adult body, and they were being passed around that way. I would still feel really weird about it. So it's the same thing, and you should feel weird about it, and if you don't, there's something wrong with you. Anyway, this video is longer than I wanted it to be. I'm gonna go now, guys. Let me know if you watched this film at all, and if you did, let me know what you guys think about it. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the comment section below. You can super thanks, and you guys have an amazing, beautiful day.